Drive-ins hit the scene in 1933, and during their heyday in the 1950s and 60s, over 4,000 of them could be found across the country. Today, the number is a scant 10% of that peak, though a few persist if you're willing to look. But drive-ins weren't just a novelty. They were a whole different kind of movie experience, one that was born from rapid suburbanization and doomed by the same phenomenon. Today, most movie theaters are run by large chains and enforce the same kinds of norms you see at live theater. No talking, no texting. Generally, you should sit quietly and keep to yourself. Drive-ins took a very different approach. By allowing patrons to drive right up to the screen, they essentially invited them to make themselves at home at the movies. Not only could you bring rowdy kids or chat with your friends, but the drive-ins themselves often offered more than just movies on display. They had playgrounds, music, and even televisions that could be watched when TV was still a new thing to many people. The movie watching itself was a very different experience too. Instead of walking into a pre-darkened room, you had to wait for sunset. Instead of a booming surround sound, you had a single small speaker, or your car's own radio. The family car became the best seat in the house. Drive-ins were perfect for the developing Midwest too. Nearly 40% of all drive-ins were located in the region. Small suburban towns springing up on the edges of cities across the Midwest were bordered by cheap land that could be used for the sprawling, multi-acre drive-in theaters. America's rising car culture meant that more families and teens had the ability to drive to the outskirts of town to see a movie. But as those small towns grew, land became more expensive. The outskirts of town developed, and large drive-ins often weren't cost-effective anymore. The drive-in has stood the test of time, and though not as popular, it still persists. However, it now faces a whole new set of challenges, like Blu-ray players, streaming services, and IMAX.